When a man no longer loves you, the first thing he will do is emotionally withdraw. This isn't always something you can see right away, but you can feel it deep in your core. Love is an energy, a frequency, a connection that binds two people together, and when it starts to fade, the shift is undeniable. You may not have the words for it at first, but you know something is different. It starts subtly. The conversations that once flowed so naturally between you start to feel forced. The warmth in his voice disappears. Where there was once curiosity about your day, your thoughts, your dreams, there is now silence. The emotional check-ins, the affectionate gestures, the reassuring words, they all start to fade away. At first you tell yourself that maybe he's just busy, maybe he's stressed, maybe it's just a phase. You make excuses because you want to believe that things are still the same, but deep down you know they aren't. When a man is in love, his presence is felt in everything he does. His attention, his concern, his desire to be near you, to understand you, to make you feel secure, that is what love looks like. But when that love starts to slip away, so does his emotional engagement. He no longer listens as intently as he used to. He may still hear you, but he's not really absorbing what you say. His responses become shorter, less thoughtful. The depth that once existed in your conversations now feels shallow, like he's just going through the motions, nodding at the right moments, but not truly connecting. You start to notice that his enthusiasm for spending time with you has diminished. He doesn't cancel plans outright, at least not immediately, but he stops initiating them. Where he once made an effort to surprise you, to plan dates, to create moments for the two of you, now he waits for you to bring things up. And when you do, his energy is lackluster. It's not that he outright refuses to spend time together, but it's as if he's just there. Physically present, but emotionally distant. You feel the shift in the way he holds you, in the way he kisses you, in the way he looks at you. When a man is deeply in love, his eyes say everything. There's warmth, admiration, a kind of unspoken devotion in the way he gazes at you. But when that love starts to fade, his eyes become indifferent. He no longer looks at you with the same intensity. You feel it in his touch. What was once filled with passion and care now feels obligatory, mechanical, or even absent altogether. The small gestures, the random forehead kisses, the hand holding, the way he used to pull you in close, those things slowly start to disappear. And it's not just about physical affection, it's about presence, about the way he exists in the relationship. You may try to bring it up, ask if something is wrong, hoping for reassurance, hoping that he will snap out of it and go back to the way things were. But the truth is, once a man starts emotionally detaching, it is difficult to reverse. If he still cares about you on some level, he might deny it, tell you everything is fine, tell you that you're overthinking, but actions never lie. Words can be empty, but behavior always tells the truth. The time he used to invest in you is now spent elsewhere, on his phone, with his friends, on work, on anything but you. You feel like you're competing for his attention, and it's a battle you never had to fight before. One of the most painful realizations is that the love you once shared is no longer a priority to him. You notice that he stops sharing his thoughts with you. He used to tell you everything, his plans, his ideas, his frustrations, his wins and losses. But now there's a wall. You have to pry for details. And even when you do, his responses are brief, almost as if he's annoyed by the effort it takes to include you. The emotional transparency that once bonded you together has been replaced by secrecy or disinterest. This withdrawal isn't always intentional. Sometimes a man himself doesn't even realize he's doing it. He may still have love for you in a general sense, but he is no longer in love. And that difference is everything. Because love is not passive. It is active. It requires effort. It manifests in actions, in consistency, in a desire to nurture the relationship. When that disappears, when he no longer puts in that effort, when he no longer feels the need to make you feel loved, that is when you know. And the hardest part, he may not even tell you. He may not admit that his feelings have changed because he doesn't want to deal with the confrontation, with the guilt, with the emotional weight of seeing you hurt. Instead, he simply pulls away bit by bit, hoping that you'll be the one to walk away first so he doesn't have to. It's a slow, painful erosion of the connection you once had, and by the time you fully realize what's happening, it already feels like he's miles away from you, even if he's sitting right next to you. When a man no longer loves you, the second thing he will do is replace effort with indifference. Love is not just words, it is action. It is the consistent presence, the small gestures, the intentional choices that show you are valued. When a man is truly in love, his actions reflected in every way. He makes time for you. He considers your needs. He listens with genuine interest, and he prioritizes your happiness alongside his own. But when love fades, so does the effort. The things he once did so naturally now feel like a burden to him. He stops going out of his way to make you smile, stops noticing the little things, stops checking in on you the way he used to. At first, it might not seem obvious. It might just feel like he's having an off day. But then the off days turn into off weeks. And before you know it, you're looking at a man who no longer seems to care. You notice it in the way he responds to you. He used to be attentive, always looking for ways to make you feel safe and cherished. But now, everything is met with disinterest. He barely reacts when you talk about something important to you. His words become short, his tone flat, his enthusiasm non-existent. When you tell him about your day, he barely listens. When you express excitement about something, he doesn't match your energy. It's as if he is there, but not really there. His presence feels hollow, like he's just going through the motions out of obligation rather than desire. The conversations that used to be full of laughter, depth, and curiosity now feel like an inconvenience to him. You ask him how his day was, and he barely gives you an answer. You try to discuss something meaningful, and he responds with disinterest or changes the subject. There is no longer a natural flow, no longer a shared excitement in simply talking to each other. You start to feel like a stranger in his life, like someone who is there but no longer truly seen. He stops making an effort to spend time with you in the ways he once did. He used to look forward to date nights, to weekend plans, to those little moments where it was just the two of you. Now he seems unbothered whether you spend time together or not. If you don't bring it up, he won't either. If you don't make the plans, nothing happens. And even when you do, it feels forced. He doesn't engage the way he used to. Doesn't go out of his way to make the moment special. He may still be physically present, but the emotional connection that once made those moments meaningful is missing. The effort he once put into making you feel loved starts to disappear. He no longer compliments you the way he used to. He doesn't notice when you dress up, doesn't appreciate the small things you do for him. The affectionate gestures become rare. The thoughtful surprises non-existent. Where he once made you feel adored, now you feel like just another part of his routine, something he no longer finds joy in but tolerates out of habit. You start to question yourself, wondering if you did something wrong, if there's something you can do to bring back what was lost. But the truth is, love cannot be forced. When a man truly cares, he puts in effort naturally. When that effort disappears, it's because the love that fueled it is no longer there. One of the most painful signs of his indifference is the way he starts to treat your feelings. When a man loves you, he cares about your emotions. If something upsets you, he wants to fix it. If you're feeling down, he wants to uplift you. But when love fades, so does that concern. You could be crying in front of him and he barely reacts. You could be upset about something and he shrugs it off as if it doesn't matter. Instead of reassuring you, he dismisses you. Instead of making an effort to understand, he gets annoyed or defensive. He no longer wants to put in the emotional energy to support you because in his heart, he has already checked out. You start to feel like a burden when you express your emotions. The patience he once had for you is gone. He no longer wants to have deep conversations, no longer wants to work through problems, no longer wants to invest in making things better. You feel the shift, the way he pulls away, the way he avoids emotional depth. And the worst part is when you bring it up, he either denies it or makes you feel like you're imagining things. He tells you you're being dramatic, too sensitive, overreacting, but deep down you know you're not. You know the love that once existed has changed, that the man who once cherished you now sees you as an afterthought. Indifference is the loudest way someone can show you they no longer care. It's in the way he doesn't fight for you, doesn't try to make things better, doesn't care enough to put in any effort. He no longer argues, not because he wants peace, but because he no longer sees the point. He no longer tries to fix things, not because everything is fine, but because he doesn't care enough to. Indifference is worse than anger, worse than frustration, because at least those emotions mean there's still something there. But when all that's left is apathy, when he no longer reacts, no longer tries, no longer invests, that is when you truly know. When a man no longer loves you, the third thing he will do is create distance, both emotionally and physically. It does not happen overnight, but you begin to feel the shift. He used to be present, used to make you feel like you were a part of his world, but now there is a growing gap between you. The closeness that once existed begins to fade, and you are left wondering when it all started to change. At first it might be subtle, a missed phone call, a delayed text response, a sudden change in routine. But then it becomes more obvious. He starts to withdraw, spending less and less time with you, and when he is around, his presence feels distant. It is as if he is there in body but not in spirit. His mind is elsewhere, his heart no longer engaged. You begin to feel like you are chasing him, trying to hold on to something that is slipping away. You notice it in the way he no longer seeks you out. He used to want to talk to you, used to check in, used to make plans. Now, if you do not reach out first, there is silence. He does not ask how your day was, does not show curiosity about your thoughts or feelings. Conversations that used to flow effortlessly now feel forced, like you are trying to pull words out of him. He responds with short answers, vague replies, and a lack of interest. The connection that once felt so natural now feels like work. And you are the only one putting in the effort to keep it alive. Physical distance becomes more noticeable as well. He starts making excuses for why he cannot see you, why he is too busy, why plans have to be postponed. Where he once made time for you, no matter what, now everything else seems to take priority. Work, friends, hobbies, even meaningless distractions. Anything becomes an excuse to avoid spending time together. And when he does make time, it feels like an obligation rather than a desire. You can sense that he would rather be somewhere else, that he is not fully present, even when he is physically next to you. The warmth that once existed between you fades. He no longer reaches for your hand, no longer pulls you close, no longer expresses affection in the way he used to. The spontaneous hugs, the playful touches, the stolen kisses, all of it slowly disappears. Even when you try to initiate closeness, you can feel the hesitation, the reluctance. He no longer holds you the way he once did, no longer looks at you with the same admiration. There is a coldness in his actions, a detachment that was never there before. And the worst part is, you feel it, but he acts like nothing has changed. He starts spending more time outside the relationship, prioritizing other people and activities. Suddenly, he is always busy. He has new commitments, new interests, new routines that somehow never include you. The time that once belonged to you now belongs to everything else. He does not invite you into his world the way he once did. He makes plans without considering you, makes decisions without including you, lives his life as if you are no longer a central part of it. And when you bring it up, he makes you feel like you are being too needy, too demanding, too unreasonable for expecting the same attention he once gave freely. Emotionally, the gap between you widens. He stops sharing things with you, stops opening up, stops letting you in. The deep conversations you used to have are gone. He used to confide in you, used to trust you with his thoughts, used to share his dreams and worries. Now he keeps everything to himself. You learn about his life through others or not at all. He becomes guarded, secretive, detached, and when you try to get close, he resists. He gives vague responses, avoids meaningful discussions, and shuts down any attempt to reconnect. You start to feel like an outsider in your own relationship. The man who once made you feel special now makes you feel invisible. You are no longer his safe place, no longer his priority, no longer the person he turns to when he needs comfort or support. The emotional bond that once held you together has weakened, and no matter how much you try to hold on, he keeps pulling away. You feel the absence of his love, not just in his words, but in his actions, in his energy, in the unspoken way he creates space between you, even in moments when you are together. There is an emptiness. You sit next to him, but he feels miles away. You talk, but he is not really listening. You try to engage, but he does not respond in the way he used to. You can sense that he is no longer invested, that he is simply going through the motions. And when you confront him about it, he either denies it or avoids the conversation altogether. He dismisses your concerns, makes excuses, or turns the blame on you. He tells you that you are overthinking, that nothing is wrong, that you are imagining things. But deep down, you know the truth. You can feel the distance, feel the disconnect, feel the way he is slowly slipping away. The emotional withdrawal becomes unbearable. You feel lonely even when you are with him. You crave the love and attention that once came so easily, but no matter what you do, you cannot seem to bring it back. He is present but absent. He is near but unreachable. He is still in your life but not in the way he once was. And as much as you try to bridge the gap, it only seems to grow wider. When a man no longer loves you, he will begin to show irritation and frustration over the smallest things. The very things he once found charming about you now seem to bother him. There was a time when he admired your quirks, laughed at your jokes, and appreciated your presence. But now, every little thing you do seems to annoy him. He starts to get impatient with you over things that never used to matter. The way you talk, the way you laugh, the way you express yourself. Suddenly, these things are met with sighs, eye rolls, or dismissive remarks. You begin to feel like you are walking on eggshells, unsure of what might trigger his irritation next. At first, you might dismiss it as stress, assuming that he is just having a bad day. But then it becomes a pattern. The warmth in his voice disappears, replaced by a cold, sharp tone. He speaks to you with impatience, as if you are a burden rather than a person he once adored. Conversations become strained because you sense that he no longer enjoys talking to you. He no longer listens the way he used to. If you try to express your thoughts, he cuts you off or dismisses your feelings. If you ask him a question, his responses are short, passive, and uninterested. When you bring up concerns about the relationship, he gets defensive or annoyed, treating the conversation as an inconvenience rather than an opportunity to reconnect. You notice the shift in his energy when he is around you. He used to be engaged, attentive, and affectionate, but now there is a noticeable lack of effort. His body language changes. He crosses his arms, avoids eye contact, sighs heavily when you speak. He acts as though your presence drains him rather than uplifts him. The subtle smiles that once reassured you are gone. He does not look at you with admiration anymore. Instead, he looks past you, distracted, uninterested, or even resentful. The frustration he feels starts manifesting in passive-aggressive behavior. He stops putting in effort but expects you to carry the emotional weight of the relationship. He may not outright say he is unhappy, but his actions make it clear. He withdraws affection, stops making thoughtful gestures, and avoids meaningful conversations. He might make sarcastic remarks, belittle your opinions, or brush off your emotions as if they do not matter. Even when you try to create a positive atmosphere, he seems unwilling to engage. Simple interactions become difficult because he seems to be looking for reasons to be upset. If you make a suggestion, he dismisses it. If you try to do something nice for him, he does not acknowledge it. If you ask for his attention, he acts like you are being demanding. You begin to feel like no matter what you do, it is never enough. He criticizes things he used to overlook, pointing out flaws, making backhanded comments, or comparing you to others. His words become less about love and more about dissatisfaction. The irritation extends to how he treats you in public and around others. There was a time when he proudly held your hand, spoke highly of you, and made you feel valued. But now he seems disconnected even when you are together. He barely acknowledges you in group settings, avoids affectionate gestures, or treats you like just another person in the room. He used to introduce you with pride, but now he barely includes you in conversations. You sense that he no longer sees you as his priority, and it hurts in ways you cannot fully explain. Even in private moments, he does not offer reassurance or kindness. The softness in his voice when he used to call your name is gone. The way he once reached for you instinctively now feels forced, if it happens at all. He no longer asks how your day was, no longer remembers the small details that used to matter. He stops noticing when you are struggling, stops checking in when you are quiet, stops offering comfort when you are upset. Instead, he meets your emotions with indifference or worse, frustration. When you try to address his change in behavior, he turns the blame on you. He makes you feel as if you are overreacting, as if your concerns are irrational. If you express that you feel neglected, he dismisses it. If you try to bring up his lack of affection, he acts like you are being unreasonable. He may even start picking fights over trivial things, turning small disagreements into major arguments just to create more distance between you. He may say things that sting, words that stay with you long after the argument is over. And the more you try to make things right, the more he pulls away. It becomes clear that his irritation is not about the little things. It is about the fact that his feelings have changed. When a man no longer loves you, he finds reasons to be upset, even if they are not valid. He becomes short-tempered, distant, and unkind because deep down, he no longer feels invested. What once brought him joy now feels like an obligation. What once made him happy now feels like a chore. You notice the shift, but no matter how much you try to fix it, he seems unwilling to meet you halfway. When a man no longer loves you, he will stop making an effort to communicate and connect with you on a deeper level. Communication, once a vital thread that held the relationship together, begins to wither. The long, meaningful conversations that once made you feel heard and understood are replaced by short, indifferent responses. He no longer shares his thoughts, his dreams, or even the simple details of his day with you. He used to ask about your feelings, your goals, and your struggles, but now it feels like he doesn't care to know anymore. You find yourself speaking into silence, trying to pull words out of him, but all you get in return are vague replies or empty nods. The person who once valued your voice now treats your words as background noise. He stops checking in with you, stops noticing when you are quiet, and stops asking how you feel. When you try to express something that is on your mind, he barely reacts. His attention is elsewhere, maybe on his phone, maybe on the television, maybe just staring into space, but not on you. He no longer engages in the little debates you used to have, no longer gets excited to tell you about his interests, and no longer laughs at your jokes. You used to be the first person he wanted to share good news with, but now you hear about things last, or not at all. You used to be the one he turned to in difficult moments, but now he keeps his struggles to himself. The wall between you grows higher, built from every moment of silence, every unanswered text, every unspoken thought. When you bring up serious conversations about the state of the relationship, he avoids them. He deflects, changes the subject, or dismisses your concerns with phrases like, "I don't want to talk about this right now," or "You're overthinking things." The man who once reassured you now acts as if your need for clarity is an inconvenience. Even when you try to express your pain, he does not meet you with empathy. He listens without truly hearing you. He nods without truly caring. His words feel empty, his responses lack emotion, and his body language tells you he would rather be anywhere else. Texting and calling become a one-sided effort. Where he used to check in throughout the day, now you find yourself waiting for replies that never come. Your messages go unanswered for hours, sometimes even days. When he does respond, his replies are short, cold, and disinterested. He does not ask follow-up questions, does not try to keep the conversation going, does not show any enthusiasm. You realize that if you stopped reaching out, he might not reach out at all. The effort that once flowed so naturally between you has vanished, and no matter how much you try to revive it, he seems unwilling to meet you halfway. Even when you are physically together, the distance between you feels vast. He does not ask about your day, does not show interest in your stories, does not engage in deep discussions. If you try to talk about something meaningful, he responds with disinterest or distraction. His eyes wander. His body turns away. His attention drifts. You used to feel seen, heard, and valued, but now you feel invisible. The silence between you is no longer comfortable. It is filled with tension, loneliness, and unspoken words that neither of you dares to address. His lack of communication spills into every aspect of the relationship. When making plans, he does not involve you. He stops discussing the future with you, stops considering your opinion, stops asking what you want. He makes decisions on his own as if you are no longer part of his world. When you try to discuss important matters, he shuts down. He either avoids the conversation altogether or responds with indifference, making it clear that he does not see the relationship as something worth investing in anymore. Even in moments when you need him most, he is emotionally unavailable. If you are going through something difficult, he does not offer support. He does not check in, does not ask how you are holding up, does not offer words of comfort. The man who once cared about every little detail of your life now acts as if your struggles do not concern him. If you cry in front of him, he does not rush to hold you. If you express your fears, he does not offer reassurance. If you try to open up, he meets you with silence. You realize that you are emotionally alone, even while standing right next to him. Conversations that once brought you closer now feel like a chore. You used to stay up late talking about everything and nothing, sharing stories, dreams, and laughter. Now, silence dominates the room. He used to ask about your thoughts, your opinions, your emotions. Now he barely acknowledges them. You used to feel like a priority in his life, but now you feel like an afterthought. The emotional connection that once made your bond special has faded, and no matter how much effort you put in, it feels like he is already let go.